Insurance companies are not beating the evil allegations. Many companies now are pulling back on coverage of things like prosthetic limbs, that people need to not live, but to live with dignity, independence, etc. Now, one user of one of these devices, Michael Adams, lost his right leg to cancer when he was 11 years old. Okay. He's been using his insurance that he pays for to be able to get high-tech prosthesis that protects against falls, stuff with like a microchip in it, right? Now, he specifically picked out a gold plan in the Colorado health insurance marketplace, which covered prosthetics, like the kind he had been using for years with no issues whatsoever. So he's like, great, I'm paying for this gold plan, okay, that specifically is for the thing that I need it for. And yet, when he tried to replace the prosthetic that he was using, because of wear and tear, right? They eventually break down. You know where I'm going with this. His new marketplace plan said, nope, not authorized. It's not medically necessary. What? Now, that replacement, of course, would cost him about 50 grand out of pocket. And, most of us don't have that lying around. Now, his doctor, of course, was like, no, this is medically necessary. It specifically prescribed him a version of that leg for many years, starting when he had employer-sponsored coverage, and yet this company decides to say, you know what, this time, no, not medically necessary. It was medically necessary before, when we covered it before, but now it's not. What? So wait, Colorado has laws, right, that leave the determination of medical necessity up to the patient's doctor, right? Well, yeah. But apparently those laws only apply to plans regulated by the state. Over half of people with private coverage are in plans that are not governed by that state law, which allows companies to deny these limb replacements as unnecessary. Okay. Gotcha. Now, how does this happen? According to Ashley White, Chief Strategy and Programs Officer at the Amputee Coalition, said that even though coverage for basic prosthesis may be included in a plan, often insurance companies will put caps on the devices and restrictions on the types of devices approved. Oh, so it's the microchip, which, again, prevents you from falling over, okay? Special sensors in it that, stabilizes you, okay? Very important, I would think. No, not approved. We've decided to take away approval for that one. Oh, okay. Now, Jeffrey Kane, a family physician and former chair of the board of the Amputee Coalition, noted that insurance covers a knee replacement if it's covered with skin, but if it's covered with plastic, it's not going to cover it. So, and that's another thing, right? Another arbitrary reason that these get denied. Plans may deny coverage for prosthetic limbs by claiming that they aren't medically necessary or are experimental devices, like this one, even though the microprocessor controlled knees like Adams have been in use for decades. Oh, we're just going to claim that it's experimental, even though that it's definitely not experimental. But come on, man, we got to have a reason. We just got to have a reason. Even in the cases, by the way, where insurance does cover it, remember, insurance doesn't pay the full amount. Some people have even had to resort to taking out bank loans in order to cover their prosthesis. And if they can't make the payments, what do you think happens? Lenders in some cases have literally repossessed prosthetic limbs and have even taken people's wheelchairs. So this is the state of healthcare in the richest country in the world, where, if you miss your arm payment, they will literally take it from you. Hey, it gives new meaning to the phrase, an arm and a leg. Yeah, they're going to take the arm and the leg. These insurance companies and these banks, it's insane. Now, Adams was lucky. He ultimately owed a co-insurance payment of about $4,000 for his leg, okay, which reflected his portion of the insurer's negotiated rate for the knee and foot portion of the leg, but did not include the costly part that fits around his stump, which didn't need replacing at the time. The insurer ended up approving the prosthetic leg on appeal, claiming that it had made an administrative error. Oh, I'm sure it was that, but not the heat that, from denying this. And it's not just him. There are other people that have been denied very major stories, like, this little girl that didn't have the money for a prosthetic arm, raised a bunch of money for it, and then ended up giving that money away to other people who were in need. This is a uniquely American story where people, who need something, raise money and then give it to people who are also in need. And that's supposed to be a feel-good story? No, it's not a feel-good story. It's an example of how broken our system actually is and how just inhuman our system is. It's horrible. Now, that said, getting back to Adams, hey, he got his leg. But there are so many other people who do not have the ability to afford those negotiated payments, those co-payments for those limbs. In fact, there was a young woman who was born without a left hand. Okay. She was denied a prosthetic hand by her insurance company. Now, that hand, of course, would allow her to perform certain actions, actions that would be necessary for independence. Without insurance coverage, the hand would cost her just over $46,000, which, of course, most people cannot afford because that's really expensive. The insurance company, what did they say? Well, it's not medically necessary. Not medically necessary to have a hand? Now, her doctor disagrees with that assessment and has been trying to help her get one. Okay? But you got to understand, too, how much doctors, how much time they waste having to do stuff like this, having to argue with insurance companies instead of providing care. They spend most of their time on the phone arguing with insurance companies. I want to run this test for this specific disease. I want to do this. I want to prescribe this. Are you going to cover it? They're on the phone. And then, of course, insurance will deny it later on anyway. And then the patient ends up being on the phone for days, weeks, months at a time, contesting these bills. This is why everyone hates insurance. Okay? That's why they hate insurance companies. And look, the other reason, of course, is that you've got these amazing inventions, devices that can help people gain or, just have their independence, have it back or gain it for the first time. And yet, you've got these greedy companies that deny you. Even if you're paying insurance, they're saying, no, you don't need that. No, you don't need that at all. A hand? A leg? Are you sure? Okay, well, let's see you guys go with that one then. I'm sure you'll manage. Look, it's stuff like this is why people are furious at the system. Okay, not only do these companies deny life-saving drugs for profit, but also life-changing prosthetics. They would rather keep people in misery or have them die than lose any of their profit margins. Insurance is nothing more than a middleman that is just there to scrape as much profit off of you as they can by denying you care. This is not what medicine, this is not what science should be doing. These amazing devices should be allowed to go to the people who need them to enhance their quality of life. Period. End of sentence. That should be it. Should not be held. This and life-saving medications should not be held up by the wills of people who just want to use it to make profits. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe with the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.